Evening, folks. Brian here, Geomagnetic Earth Watch on Friday, February 2, 2024 on our planet. Hope you're all well. Our planet is exerting a lot of pressure, a lot of outer core expansion pressure. I've been trying to get this video out, but things keep on popping up, like the recent 5.1, which apparently was larger than that in Oklahoma. I have my reasons to suspect where that's coming from. Anyway, my day started off today tracking a whole lot of heat anomalies. They're not SITs or glitches, they're not sensor errors. So I want you to stick with me. So I'm going to start from the beginning of my day. Now, periodically on Greenland, there's a single heat detection. Normally, they are in this region here, Southern Point, where we had the earthquake, up here and up here. However, we have a series. They've already gotten rid of one of them. Start off in the top here. I'm not going to bother to show you on Google Earth because it's just nothing but snow and ice. However, what gets my attention is the heat, 468 degrees Kelvin. Which is about 415 degrees Fahrenheit. I have another series, and I'm finding this pattern more often globally now, as if a fracture in the crust. 484 Kelvin, so we're almost 420 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's continue. Baffin Bay. (327 degrees Kelvin), 468 degrees Kelvin. There was another one just on the edge of the continental shelf, right here. However, they have eliminated that one. This one I didn't see before, northern Canada. 327 degrees Kelvin. Let's move along. I'm just going to cover a couple of points in Canada. Western Ontario in the middle of nowhere. This is the same pattern starting to repeat itself prior to the fires last year. One moment, 5219. Okay, well, that's not important right now. Let's move along. So earlier on, I reported so folks, they are removing some of this data. I've already documented and showed you on video in this area here. Southern Manitoba, Northwest Territories. So again, middle of nowhere, 468 degrees Kelvin. Alrighty then, let's move along. Western coastline of Africa. Now, it is common to have some heat on the shores. For example, I will show you yesterday. so not all that much. However, today, we have a substantial, huge spread all up along the coast. Before I continue along the coast, middle of the Atlantic Ocean, (489 Kelvin. So that is 420 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember a few days ago, I'm telling you that periodically there's heat detections here and on the continental shelf here. Oh, what's happening here? Of course, we have the fires along the coastline. 327 Kelvin. Let's get back up to the coast of Nigeria. So there was 4, now there's 2. We also have a volcanic island starting to light up now. This volcano last erupted in 1923. Let's go take a look. So we do have a lot of heat in the top of the volcano. Pico de Santa Isabella. Moving along. Okay, Timor Sea and the entrance into the Indian Ocean. Okay, you recognize this pattern. 468, 327, 484 Kelvin. So folks, this is the area right here. Where periodically a tsunami buoy will go into motions in the absence of earthquakes. Let's move along. Philippine Sea. 327 Kelvin. Okay, you ready for the next one? I just found it out a few seconds ago before I started this video. One moment. Okay, I'm back. I had to reset. Pay attention to this one, folks. So I'm just finding this one out. I'm going to tell you now. I'm going to do a closer look. We have, obviously, we have magma making its way up into, guess where? Mount Fuji, Japan. So again, I'm just finding this one out. I would spend a lot more time on looking this over before I report it, but Mount Fuji, Japan. Let's get on back closer to home, North America. Off the coast of North Carolina, 489 Kelvin. This is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is not the third time. This is at least the fourth time in this region here. There has been some heat detections. And earlier on last year, remember, there was a 4.9 earthquake right in the middle here where there was absolutely no fracture zones. At the same time, there was a heat detection between North Carolina and Bermuda. Let's move along to Oklahoma. So our earthquake is 37 kilometers from this cluster of heat. I found very curious. $34.98. Now, I'm not familiar with Oklahoma. I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes taking a look around and see what we got here. Fracking, huh? Wastewater. There's a much larger spread of heat further to the south. And our earthquake is approximately 37 kilometers to the north. I'm going to talk a little bit about fulcrum point earthquakes. So earlier on today, on the Mendocino Ridge, we had a 5.4 earthquake in this region here, off the coast of California, about 14 hours ago. And we had our, I understand it was a higher than the 5.1, they downgraded it, in Oklahoma. So a fulcrum point is a point in the middle between two recent earthquakes. Therefore, it is forecastable that there could be a fulcrum point response in this area here. However, the seismic waves, okay, they spread. Seismic waves spread, and they'll meet in the middle. They'll bump into each other, and then we'll have a fulcrum point earthquake. Now, this one's already got a head start, the seismic wave. This is why I'm suggesting the possibility of a fulcrum point earthquake somewhere around Colorado, possibly. It will lose some energy. So I would say a 4.7 to a 4.9, possibly. Possibly the Observer Ranch. Wouldn't that be funny? Let's move along. All right, to summarize, folks. Substantial spread from the Greenland mantle plume, northern Canada. Quite the massive spread on the coastal regions of West Africa. Including a shield volcano. There's actually, this island is comprised of 3 shield volcanoes. And throughout the ocean's floors, we have heat detections. Remember I said, because of the outer core expansion, we are first going to see the indications where the crust is thinnest, as in here, for example. Here, 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 here. Philippine Sea, here. And this should be a serious heads up. Mount Fuji, Japan. There you have it, folks. And you know what? I'm just getting started. I'm sure there's a lot more than what I just finished showing you. A lot more I don't even know about. Because it's one incident after another, after another, after another today so far. So let's maybe a little bit of a situational awareness around Utah, Colorado, Japan. When this Mr. Colonel Mike of Mike from Around the World, COT, as he has been forewarning these events to happen. And this has been my pinpoint focus of observation for the past 2 years. Folks, expect an escalation, an orchestrated distractions. You know what I mean. Don't be so pinpoint focused on bombing strikes in Syria and Iraq. Don't let that draw your attention from what's happening in your own environment. Coastal Carolina, Oklahoma, Mendocino Ridge, California, Ferndale, Utah, Colorado, Japan, and everywhere else in the world. And yeah, I think that's it for now. I'll leave any personal comments and observations to a separate video. A video about how I annoy and piss off people and I get people's knickers all tied up in a knot and they leave me by the droves. You know what? I'm happy. I'm happy when I lose people off of my friends account on Facebook, because that means there's vacancies for those who want to come into the family, who really want to know what's going on. Patience, I'll get you in.